Well, you were singing and you screwed up my intro now. So, if you heard that in the video recording, I'm hoping Mike cuts it in right in the middle of him singing, so you hear this part.
Me singing the number 10, you got that?
Yeah, I do. Or if you cut this part out in the podcast, in the actual podcast, that's fine, but it's going to be on the YouTube channel, so fuck it, whatever. So before we get started, I want to say hello and thank you for joining us this fine evening, all you Wasteland rebels out there.
What the fuck does that mean?
That means that everybody's playing Fallout 4.
Oh.
So, this is Train Noobs episode number 20. What? Mike's back, obviously, you could tell. This is
Deuce
Mike's...
zero.
Deuce zero.
For the 20.
Alright, well, so far, for the 20th, this one sucks.
You suck.
Well, today, guess who has show notes and guess who doesn't have show notes?
Yeah, for the first time in 5 months, I do not have show notes prepared. Now, I could have prepared them. I showed up. In my defense, I showed up. I said, look, bro, I just woke up. I have not had time this week to do show notes. My only day off was spent busy doing other things. So can you can either give me a little time to do show notes and wait there patiently, and he was not about to wait patiently. He was, okay, I'm lying. Before you said anything, you're right. I'm lying.
All right.
I'm sorry. No, he was willing to give me the time to do the show notes really quick before the show, and I'm like, or I thought about just being lazy this episode, and he's like, just do it, be lazy. I'm like, I feel really bad doing that. He's like, nah, just do it. I'm like, you're gonna twist my arm.
I mean, it's his first time missing his homework assignment, so I'm not gonna chalk it up and take your grade off.
I think you've done it twice. You've done 2 shows without me where you've had no show notes.
Without you. That's the
Right.
thing, though.
Right. Well,
and my guest
but I was
didn't have
working
show
while
notes
you were
either.
without me, so I'm not completely innocent.
When I'm without you,
See, now you're singing
I'm gonna stop.
in falsetto, in a beautiful falsetto.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Good job. Did you know that women cannot do that? Women do not have 2 sets of vocal cords like males do, so they can't go into falsetto.
Women.
Women. It's,
I like the fact that you're just like trying to process it now and trying to figure out who the fuck says women.
nobody says, maybe Pennsylvanianites.
No, nobody says women out here. I was just pulling your leg, as they
Nobody
say.
says woman or women, because you just said woman.
Yeah, nobody says women.
Oh, right, because that's not a fucking word.
Well, I mean, it has an E in it. So some people do actually say women. I don't know why. Maybe that's just the way that they pronounce it because that's where they're from. I say wolves.
Wolves?
Wolves.
Yeah, that's like an 8-year-old pronunciation.
No, it's an Ohio pronunciation. Anybody from Ohio can attest that that's how we all say wolves.
Wolves?
It's not wolves. It's wolves.
Well, I would say wolves, like WOLVES. But I pronounce the L.
I say wolves, like
Wolves.
WOOVEZ.
Right. I was not misinterpreting the way you say the word, that's for sure.
No, I will admit it's the way I say it. It sounds like it should be spelled completely different than what it actually is.
Why don't you just say it the proper way?
Because I can't. Well,
Yes, you
I
can.
can.
Say wolves. It's like my daughter. It's like I'm with my daughter right now. Okay.
Wolves. Wolves.
Say like Lila. So wolves.
I'm not going to pronounce the L. I'm just not going to.
That's your job as an American citizen. It's Veterans Day today.
Hey,
Don't disrespect our veterans by saying wolves.
You see that pack of wolves over there? That's how I say it.
And then you're
Deal
gonna
with
get
it.
no scared reactions. You're going to cry wolf all day because they're going to be like, what's a wolf? I don't understand.
I don't
and then
say-
they're gonna get eaten.
I don't
They're gonna get
say-
eaten from the asshole first by a wolf.
That's the thing. I don't say wolf or wolf. I say wolf. It might sound more like wolf, but I say, hey, there's one wolf over there.
See, you can do that.
But I can't say wolves. It just sounds
did it.
weird. I can't say it in passing. Like, I can't say it to you. If we're talking, I can't say wolves. I say wolves.
I
Hey,
think it's a choice.
look at those wolves
at the
over
end of the
there.
day, I think it's just like being gay. It's a choice.
Okay, well, I don't want to get on that topic.
You don't want to go down
I
a
wasn't
controversial path.
No, I wasn't prepared to talk about my sexuality this.
Does Kayla know?
I tried to keep her in the closet.
I was wondering why you really like two guys on girl porn. I just couldn't figure it out.
Everybody loves bigger dicks, right?
Are you one of those guys that only watches porn of girls because he doesn't like to see some other dude's dick?
I can't get off on lesbian porn. I'll say that.
Lesbian porn is a little bit boring to me.
Lesbian
right?
porn is really boring.
The whole point is to pretend. This is probably really gray area because I have a lot of family members that listen to this. But the whole point is to pretend you are the dick, right?
So what you're basically saying is that
That 10-inch iron arm.
if you're watching porn, it needs to be about this big. It needs to be the size of a Sharpie cap. If you're watching porn, for you to relate to what's going on.
It's called a fantasy land, man. And in this world, I am as big as I want to be.
I saw somebody had it was a thread on Reddit. The mouse. All right. By the way, this episode is literally probably going to be mostly just BSing. So if you don't
Just
like
like
it,
last week, where 45 minutes into the episode, you got your first news topic.
hey, you know what? I apologize for it, but I feel like I left some really good advice on there. Plus, the two topics I talked about before I got into news were video game related.
We will
I talked
about news
about
before the 45-minute mark this show.
I talked about League of Legends, and I talked about Overwatch.
By the way, I'm proud of you for getting for gold, and it's inspiring to me. It makes me want to play again, just saying.
See?
But go on with your
Exactly.
story.
I can't remember what I was going to say now.
Fuck, it doesn't matter anyway.
So no, I saw this on Reddit. It was a guy's computer desk, and he had the mouse pads that have like the two lumps on them.
I saw that too, and I showed Katie.
So somebody actually made a GIF of them like slapping it, and it was like shaking. And what ended up happening was somebody else linked in the same thread a picture of this guy's desk, and he had that as a mouse pad with the anime boobs and stuff on it. He actually had the fleshlight with the mount underneath his desk. So he could sit at his desk and do this.
Oh my god, dude.
I lost it. That was funny. So anyway, how was your last busy week?
News update.
Oh.
News update. So my buddy Ryan, now we're not just talking about buddy Jim anymore. I got a buddy Ryan. Listen to the show, and I got some feedback about our show from Ryan, and he says this.
This is awful. Why am I listening? That's what he said,
Thank you,
right?
Ryan, for your feedback in form of text message, not an email. We'll get an email eventually from somebody other than updates from our SoundCloud or something. He says, I gotta say, your audio quality is on point. I've listened to a ton of shows like crap and can't miss that sound like I should probably learn how to read.
Yeah, let's rewind this.
I gotta say,
I don't know what the fuck
means.
that was.
I don't know what that was either. If you try to make a
Who let a moose on the podcast?
if you were to try and make a rewound sound, what the fuck would it sound like to you out of your mouth?
I wouldn't make a rewind
I gotta
sound.
say, your audio quality is on point. I've listened to a ton that just sound like crap and can't make it past the first episode. We rock, bro. Oh, another one. I think it was the Golden Wisp that I couldn't. Oh, I'm talking shit about other podcasts right now. Check it out. I think it was the Golden Wisp that I couldn't even make it past the first episode because they sounded like they had a fan in the room. I felt like that too for that podcast. By the way, you are now a part of our latest episode.
Well, he's gonna hear that.
Now.
He's gonna
Winky smiley face.
Why?
Talk to you soon, buddy.
I don't understand why you're even texting him back that he's part of the podcast.
Because now what he'll do is he'll listen to the show and he'll say, "Oh, I remember while he was sending me that podcast." I mean,
you mean
that
text
message. I'm tired. So what were we talking about? A dude was screwing his mouse pad via flashlight, right?
No, it wasn't. No, he wasn't fucking the mouse pad. The mouse pad was there. He had the flashlight underneath the desk, so he can go like this. But the mouse pad would still be over here.
What's the point?
Because then you'll be watching POV porn on the computer, and then you could think you're that guy with the 3-inch dick.
It's a hard life to have a 3-inch dick. You wouldn't know.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yours gets crushed between your knees when you run like a girl.
But what?
Like knees in, heels out?
No, what? What? Why would I run like that if I had a big dick, though?
I don't know why you do it, but that's why you have bruises on the tip of your dick.
You know, I sometimes forget the drunk pictures that I send you.
Dude, how did this happen?
You don't want to know.
I don't understand.
You don't want to know. I turned the corner really fast.
Dude, I don't even know half the shit we just talked about. This is pre-show content right here. That's what this is.
Which we recorded the pre-show, and it was actually a really serious pre-show. We talked about...
What did we talk?
I don't know.
Oh, we talked about the fact that I don't have show notes. And he convinced me.
No, we talked about more than that. I
don't know. I just turned it on you. I didn't even tell you. My daughter made an appearance. She's cute. She's 4. She thinks she has the whole world figured out.
She tried convincing you to use your phone and then give it back to you if you needed it.
Right.
She's like, I'm going to use it, and then...
She's too smart for her own good.
And then if you need it, I'll let you use it because you'll need it.
She's 4. I don't know how she comes up with this.
I was like, that was really good logic. And then...
Well, I'll just give it back to you if you need it.
Yeah, and then when she says... when you said go talk to your mother about using the tablet, she goes, well, she's sleeping and I don't really want to bother her. And I'm like, damn, this kid's smart. That was me when I was growing up.
Well, today, she's very excited. She loves it when I teach her how to play video games. So today, the video game of choice, I asked her what game she wanted to play, and she said, oh, that gun one. And I said, well, what gun one? There's a few different games that I play.
There's a ton of them.
And I said, well, let me just go down the list, because sometimes she gets gun one could mean anything. There could be like a card in Hearthstone, like the Iron Forge Rifleman that shoots 1 damage to something else. So I was like, well, there's Hearthstone, there's Hero, there's the Storm, there's Diablo, there's Counter-Strike. She's like, Counter-Strike. I want to play Counter-Strike. Like, so I'll sit her down on my lap and I'll teach her how to play some Counter-Strike.
I don't know, man. If I talked with a child, obviously my children are all furry 4-legged friends. If I talked with them about furry 4-legged monsters.
Monsters.
They are demon children.
It's a good thing that you found a burnt pizza instead of the oven instead of a cat. That would be bad.
What? Why would it? But we'd know the cat was missing, so we'd open the oven. But why would the cat be in the oven in the first place? You're not making.
That's what I'm saying. Why was there pizza in the oven?
You're not making any sense.
You just don't expect these things.
Did you listen at all to the last podcast?
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing.
No, you didn't, because I explained it in the podcast why
that
the pizza
you put
was
it in
the
there
box
and you put it in to hide it from the cats. By the way, why aren't you just wrapping the pizza up inside foil or a bag and putting it in the fridge?
No, I didn't put the pizza in there. It was just the box. It was an empty box.
So why don't you throw the box into recycling?
Because it's outside. You have to walk out the doors, down the stairs, and outside all the way down to the recycling bin. And what we did was that night we put it in the oven, closed the door, or left it open. Kayla told me not to close the door. And we were going to take it out the next day.
Right.
So before I was going to bed, I went in there to get my snack, and then closed it.
I got all that. So you're right. I didn't think about the fact that it's a pain in the... I used to live in an apartment. I understand. Even though my dumpster situation was right outside our door, I did not want to go out in the middle of the night. I understand, especially when I'm totally naked, because that's how I roll in the evening.
That's the best time to go outside.
At nighttime, yeah.
No.
Naked.
When you're naked, yeah.
Right. I agree as well. Nighttime naked.
Yeah.
There's nothing creepy about that.
No. Now, see, in hindsight, what we should have done was you should have just taken the pizza box and set it outside the door, and then closed the door.
That way, just raccoons would be getting into it instead of cats.
No, we have
Sealed
like
off.
A double entrance. We have
Set it outside the door.
Entrance downstairs, and then that comes upstairs, and then there's multiple apartments up here. There's 2 apartments, mine and the one guy across from us. If we just set it out in the landing area, then nobody gets it. And it's just a pizza box, so it doesn't have to worry about it smelling.
You learn and live. Good thing it wasn't a cat, that's all I'm saying.
I think it's the other way around.
You live and learn.
Yeah, there you go.
You're right.
You were close.
That was a little bit of a stroke. I needed to get checked for something. I might have a hernia or something like that.
I don't know why I'm relating everything in this episode to dick jokes, but a little bit of a stroke is just kind of...
I just don't think of that whenever I make that joke. I think I just had a stroke. Some like midget under my desk. No, not that kind of stroke.
Stop it! Knock it out! Oh, hey, look at that. We just got an email.
No, we didn't.
From our good friend Jim.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
No, because I would get it.
We did. I swear. It's in there. I'm reading it right now.
We don't do this show live, so there's no way he would know to send an email.
Great podcast. Love the friendship and the constant needling of each other while talking about the news of the day.
What's the password to the email?
Special guests keep things fresh while Mike traverses the open roads, but it's always great to have the original pair back together. Insightful commentary, frequent hot takes, and vulgar humor keep me coming back. Now,
This is a real email.
Now, only if that prick Jim would do the Shenmue report. Keep up the good work, boys.
But okay, I love that he did this, right? Thank you, Jim. You are the best. I'm gonna frame this and put it on my wall. Why the fuck isn't it in iTunes though?
Because I just sent him a text now telling us to give us a review. I figured your buddy.
Everything is bullshit.
I
don't count this as his first email. I don't count this because it's not of his own will. It's not of his own free will.
But
he didn't actually want to send it. Jim,
I didn't
don't
tell
know how I
him
feel about this.
I didn't tell him what to send though. I did not tell him to write this. I literally here's the text I sent him. Okay, the text.
I'm gonna put this on our website. I'm gonna be like testimonials.
No. The text I sent said recording podcast now. Give me a text review. We're reading them.
We're reading them. We don't have any. What the,
he just
we had Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he said I'll send an email, and I told him hurry up.
An email. Well, thank you, Jim. Let's move on to some fucking news.
The thoughts are genuine.
The thoughts seem to be genuine. He said good things about me. Mike traverses the open roads. That's a very nice thing to say to me about me.
I still think he's on hashtag Team Jason, though.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, let's find out. Jim, @TrainNoobs is our Twitter. Let us know if
he knows what our Twitter is.
Yes, I know he knows what our Twitter is.
He'll probably tag both of us, too. McMonet.
Don't do that, Jim. If you don't pick one, then we're canceling the show.
He'll tack on McMonet and @itsnerves.
@McMonet, which is MTMONE, or @itsnerves with Z's because he's edgy.
I'm waiting.
Jason. Team Mike.
I'm waiting for you to actually spell mine out.
ITZNERVEZ.
So okay, I have a question. If you ever encountered that name, Nerves, if you ever encountered that like for the first time, boom, and you just saw it spelled that way
with a Z because they're edgy.
How would you pronounce that?
Nerves.
Okay, so you wouldn't say Nervez?
No.
Because I didn't subscribe, but I followed somebody on Twitch, and he read my name, and he read it as Nervez, and I was like, oh god damn it!
Wait, but
now
if
I
it had
have
a Z
to
on it, I'd understand how you could say Nervez.
Why wouldn't you just look at it and go, oh, nerves?
Because English.
Yeah, but I'm not going to put an S on there. S is boring.
I agree. S is boring.
The Z makes it better. Just like if I were to put,
from now on, I'm going to call you Nerves Ed.
All right, that's better than Nervez. Like he pronounced it like I'm Spanish.
What kind of Spanish? There's lots of different forms.
I don't want to say it. It would be considered racist.
Why would that be? Let's move on to some news. We got to get some news going on. That was fun, though.
All right, so
we didn't talk about our weeks, but let's do news first, and then we can talk about our weeks.
Yeah, we'll fill with the weeks at the end. That sounds like a good idea.
For sure.
Because I only have the 3 microtransactions and the 1 full release.
Cool, let's do it.
So, first bit for the microtransactions, the Warhammer End Times Vermintide is going to get free.
This is quick mentions, by the way. This is not microtransactions. I appreciate your gusto, but quick mentions. All right, this is what we need to. Okay, this is what we need to know. Jim and Ryan.
The two people that listen to our podcast.
Which one do we like better? Do we like quick mentions, or do we like microtransactions for our headlines segment? My mom listens to
headlines
headlines section.
There you go. You stuttered on sections, and it
tweet @TrainNoobs.
You said sections.
Okay, tweet @TrainNoobs for hashtag quick mentions or hashtag microtransactions.
That takes way too long.
Team Mike and Team Jason. It doesn't take too long. Just fucking do it. All right, move on.
All right, so the first bit of microtransactions we have. It's for Warhammer End Times Vermintide. It's going to be getting free DLC on December 3rd. That's going to be basically all focused about loot. There's going to be different ways to re-roll your loot. A new loot class, which would be like red items. You know how WoW and Diablo have all those different classed items, and CSGO, Dota 2, they all have different classes as far as their items go. They're going to be doing red items. And then you could also decide what kind of loot is going to be dropping. I assume what that means is that since there are different classes you could play as, if you're playing as, say, the Bright Wizard and you want a staff to drop, you don't want to be getting like random mace and shields for dwarves to be dropping because you play mostly a Bright Wizard. So
Smart loot, like Diablo.
Yeah, probably what's going to end up happening is you could probably decide to say, hey, I'm going to play this game as a Bright Wizard, but I do want that dwarf stuff.
Yeah,
So
I don't
you
want to be no
select
Dark
it.
Wizard.
So, nice try to joke, but Bright Wizard
If you
is
hadn't
actually what it's
acknowledged
called
it, it would have been a lot more funny. But now you acknowledged it and you crushed its soul.
because it was a bad joke. I didn't
Fuck you.
laugh.
Get on with your microtransactions, you fancy fuck.
I'm trying because I'm the only one that has any news.
You're right. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Fallout 4 breaks Steam records with a peak of 469,000 players at the time that I wrote these notes. The previous best before this was GTA 5, which released earlier this year at 360,000.
When I read this news article on my thing, it said 390. So it went up a lot
Yeah.
from the time that I read it to you. And mine was like 2 days ago. So it's just going nuts.
Well,
That's awesome.
It just released
I
when
love
you
that,
read it.
well, but still, I love that it beat GTA 5. But then again, I think that
Well-
it has its roots in Steam more than GTA 5 did.
Look at it this way, right? When you read it a couple days ago,
Uh-huh.
it actually just released at midnight yesterday morning. It would have been Tuesday
It
morning.
might have been a day ago. It was a little bit down on my list. So
Yeah, it was yesterday because that's when I added it to my pocket. But at least that's the news article that I got. But anyway,
I just love the visual representation of you adding your news story to your pocket. Be like, oh, this is a good one. Let's just put this right in here.
but that's kind of what you do.
Yeah, I agree.
At least in Feedly, you click the little button that says "Save to Pocket."
I gotta get you off Feedly. It's a piece of shit. Go ahead.
No, Feedly's great. I love just flipping through news
It's
articles.
very pretty. That's for sure.
No, it's very functional too if you know how the fuck to use it.
Well, how come you can never find? Okay, never mind.
I have no problems
Move
finding
on.
my news stories.
Yes, move on.
But anyway, when you did it, it was yesterday, and it had just come out. I can guarantee what ended up happening. Like me, there were a lot of people that were waiting for reviews to come in before they made their purchase. Because they wanted to wait for the game to come out. Those first people to see if it's broken, like Black Ops is. I don't know if Black Ops is still currently broken. You know what I mean? But those people wanted to see if the game's broken first
Right.
before they dumped $60 on a new game.
Of course.
So after reports started coming in saying it's a decent port, it's a Bethesda game, so it's going to have glitches here and there, but it's good.
Yeah.
Then people started buying it again. So yeah, the previous best was GTA 5, had around 360,000, and then they just reported, from a site, I think it's Steam Stats. No,
Yeah.
Steam Spy. Steam.
What? Oh,
Steam.
There's a stats
Yeah.
Steam or something too, right?
Yeah, that's like Steam's integrated stats tracking.
Right.
But Steam
My
charts.
mute button. Oh, about to sneeze.
Go like this. Go like
No, I
this.
got it. I got it. I stopped
right.
it. I'm gonna start my mute program.
But no, there's one program that I use, one website that I use, steamcharts.com, which is where I get all. Yes, you're still talking.
Sorry, I'm very sorry.
There's the one that I use is Steam Charts that tells me how many people are actually playing, and there's one called Steam Spy, and that one tells you how many people are either bought or own the game. So according to Steam Spy, it is reported to have sold 1.2 million copies on Steam in 24 hours.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
So it's getting up there, and I have to say I'm starting to get really intrigued by it, and not really being a fan of the Fallout franchise or series.
Right,
I'm
right.
starting to kind of like to get this many players. It has to be doing something right, so maybe I should check it out. I mean, worst case scenario, I buy it, I play it for like 2 hours or whatever, and if I don't like it, I just refund it, right?
I feel you. Yes. It looks like a lot of fun. Our buddy Jason is streaming it, which is cool.
Yep, Yeti Nation.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
Twitch.
Twitch.tv/Yeti Nation. Check him. That's our good buddy.
He's been on the podcast before.
Yes, that's Jason number
He was
2.
on episode 11, I think it was.
If
With
that's
you
true.
and Matt.
Oh, with me and Matt. Yeah, we're gonna get Matt in another episode. Anyway, yeah, that game looks like a lot of fun, and trust me, I've been mulling it over in my head to buy it or not. But
there's so many different
$60.
ways to play it, though. You know what I mean? Like all
That's
the
what's
different
good about
attributes.
it.
I was just reading just before when I was writing these show notes that some dude on PC Gamer, I think it was, is going through and playing with just charisma and luck maxed. That's it. And basically, what that allows him to do is he goes through and he's trying to convince everybody of things with his words and trying to calm people down and do things like that and
So
nullify
he's going through as
situation.
a fucking pacifist. I love this.
But he can use guns if he wants to,
Right.
but he's not very adequate with them. He's not very prolific. What the fuck is the word?
Proficient?
Proficient. Thank you. I want to say prolific, but
He just had a little stroke. Get out of there! Get out of there!
and then luck. There's some perks that you get or some skills that you get later down the luck tree. That like if an enemy's shooting at you, there's a chance for the bullet to ricochet and kill him instantly, even like bosses. So if he's in the middle of a firefight and people are just shooting at him, they might miss, and you hear a ping, and it comes back, and all of a sudden they just slouch over dead because they got shot by their own bullet.
That's luck?
That's in their luck tree, yeah.
What?
So basically,
That sounds so cool. That's like
you
Thorns
max-
damage in Diablo.
yeah, you max charisma and you max luck, and then you go
Wow.
through and you're a guy that can't fight.
You're just this dude that's been looked over by God, and bullets just whiz past your ear, and they go back and they hit their own shooters, and that's
Yeah,
amazing.
you're like the dude from Book of Eli at that point. You've seen that movie, right?
No, I haven't.
What?
No.
Go. It was good. Just don't watch the last 15 minutes because they suck. Now, of course, there's character creation in that game is off the charts. You can be
One thing I
male
will say
or
that
female.
that kind of bums me out because I was watching this streamer and the streamer was like, "Why can't I do this?" Is every time he brings up the Pit Boy and starts putting on gear, you can't see a little snapshot of your own character. So the only way for you to see how the gear looks on your character, if you care about that kind of stuff, like I do,
is the tab
to-
out and then
yeah.
scroll out.
Yeah, third person.
It was like that with the other Fallout games too.
Yeah, I mean, as far as following tradition goes, I mean, I don't think they're in a position where they can change the Pit Boy. In that kind of a dramatic sense, but maybe maybe put a button on the Pit Boy. Maybe put like a button where you can initiate the button, and it shows like a little hologram of yourself, and you can do a 360 spin of yourself to see what the gear looks like on your character, because that's important to a lot of people. They like to look cool. That's it's part of the fantasy.
You got to imagine too, though, when you're doing it, that you have to integrate it in a way that it works for consoles too, and consoles have a limited control set.
Right.
So as long as you
make
can,
it a scroll down left right.
I was gonna say,
marker?
as long as you could use your thumbsticks and
Right.
then not at the same time switch tabs, because I don't know how that works on consoles.
Right.
But your shoulder buttons might switch your tabs in Pip-Boy or something like that. I don't exactly know how it works, but maybe it's something that can be corrected by mods too. That's another big thing too.
Well, Bethesda, this is a really good idea that I just came up with. You can take it, but it's going to cost you.
It'll be 100% free.
No, it's going to cost you money to use my idea.
I don't think it works like that.
Yeah, sure. It's intellectual property. I'm going to email it to myself, and then it's mine.
So Twitch held a 9-day marathon stream of Bob Ross's The Joy of Painting last week.
I love that you're picking up some of my high-quality podcasting.
I love that since you don't
Artist.
have show notes, you're interrupting all of mine.
Bob Ross, let's talk about that guy. Those happy little trees.
So there was a 9-day marathon stream of The Joy of Painting last week that ended on Friday. More than 183,000 people watched the last episode that was streamed. 5.6 million watched over the whole marathon.
It's amazing.
So, naturally, what happens when stuff gets huge on Twitch is they're bringing back The Joy of Painting, and it's going to be aired on the Bob Ross channel, which is twitch.tv/Bob Ross. And it's going to air from 6 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. every Monday. Now I say Eastern time because everybody knows that's the best time zone. But if you're some form of scrub that lives over on the West Coast, that's 3 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Battle Royale.
So they're going to stream all 31 seasons, and the repeats of the show are going to...
31 seasons? That's
Yes.
a lot of fucking paintings.
Yes.
Holy shit.
So over the 31 seasons, the repeats will happen once every 7 months, and then every year on October 29th, which is Bob Ross's birthday, they're going to stream the entire series again. So they'll do like an entire marathon series again.
So Bob Ross is a thing. He is now ingrained in Twitch.
Yes, Bob Ross is canon.
So I have a question for you, and I don't know if you'll know these answers.
Well,
but
let me one last
sorry.
thing
You're
before
right.
I'm
Go
done
ahead.
with this one.
I apologize.
All the proceeds that are generated from the stream will be split 4 ways. A chunk of it's going to go to the people who own the show, Bob Ross Inc. and Jansen Media. Part of it's going to go to Root Division. ROOT Division is a visual arts nonprofit organization. Another portion will go to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. And the last bit will go to Twitch Creative Support. And Twitch Creative is a new section that was just made very recently for people to go on and share arts and drawing and stuff like that. That's where this Bob Ross channel is featured.
All right. So the company taking money, I expect them to do that, even though if they were truly good people, they would say, we don't need money from this. Let's just give it all to the Children's Channel Network.
They own the rights to...
I understand that they own the rights to it, so I understand the reason why they're taking money, and I can't really blame them. But does Twitch need financial support to fund their creative department?
Bandwidth for the service in general.
Come on, dude. Twitch is massive, and they just got bought by Amazon. Do they need the help from Bob Ross's channel?
Yeah.
No, they don't need the help from Bob Ross's channel. Why are they dipping their hands in this?
They might need the extra... Listen, you don't know where this extra money is going to be going as far as Twitch... When it says Twitch Creative Support, you don't know what that means. Does that mean it's going to be more promotion for those people that are going to be featured on the creative? Because I went and watched one of these dudes. That's the guy I followed, and he read my name fucking wrong. And he draws amazing art. But maybe what they need to do is they need to get their name out there as a place for people, these artists, to come on there and draw stuff for them.
If a quarter of the Bob Ross money goes to those people, then I understand.
That's the thing. It doesn't specify
but it's not going to go to those people.
It doesn't specify how it's split, though, is what I'm saying.
That 1/4, at least.
Yeah, so, what's a 50% might go to St. Jude's. And then Bob Ross the Bob Ross Foundation or whatever might only get like 10% of it. And
I
then
just
Twitch Creative might only get
across the board.
Yeah,
that's my general assumption.
So it doesn't say how the split's going to be.
The problem that I have with this kind of shit, with them they're saying, yeah, it's going to go. That's awesome that they are donating it to the two nonprofits, right?
The nonprofit and then the St. Jude's.
St. Jude's, which in my opinion, just give it all to St. Jude's because that's amazing. But the fact that they said that they're giving it to Twitch, so Twitch is double dipping because they already make money off of all this, and then they're going to be taking another chunk of the Bob Ross stuff.
But no. How are they making the money off of it in the first place? Because they're not.
Because anybody that subscribes to the channel, a chunk of it goes to Twitch, and the advertisement revenue goes to Twitch.
I don't believe they have a subscribe button on that channel.
Well, then we need to find that out. But I believe I'm almost sure they do because.
There is...
Definitely got to
Yes, there is a subscribe button.
And then on top of that, there is also all the advertisements. And Twitch does not give 100% of the sub button money and the ad money back to the channel owner.
I don't know if they're running ads on this channel. Not every channel. It doesn't matter.
The sub button still does not get 100% reimbursed to the channel owner. It just doesn't happen. So Twitch is double dipping, no matter which way you want to look at it, and that kind of bothers me. But then the company is taking money too, which they have the rights to. So even though on a moral level it's whatever, it doesn't. You don't know the percentages. So what we could find out is that the company is taking 99%, and all the other things are getting 0.33 repeating percent. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that they're doing that, though.
No, I don't think they are either. But this is what I'm getting at: is I'm all for transparency and them saying, we're taking some, Twitch is taking some, we're going to give it some to a nonprofit. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, what does that really mean to me when I don't actually know what you're doing? You could be giving 1% to these nonprofits and making yourself look good, but you're really not affecting anything,
I'm sure somebody would come out and say exactly what the ratios are.
At that point, you're leveraging the goodwill of these nonprofits to make yourself look better. And then I just hope that's not happening. But Bob Ross is awesome. Hey, and I was wondering how this even became a thing. Like, so the creative section of Twitch started up, and now people can paint and do all this stuff on Twitch. And whereas it wasn't allowed before, so the whole Bob Ross thing was really on the forefront of the whole creative section of Twitch. I was wondering how that was allowed, but I guess because they have the rights and they just collaborate with Twitch, then I guess that just all becomes allowed. And then that opens up the creative channel, and that allows these other people to come in and do that kind of stuff, which is cool. You know what I would like to see on Twitch? Because there's creative, what else is there? And there's gaming talk shows. I would also like to see just like a podcast section, because there's a lot of people that like do podcasts that I would like to watch live streams of, but they don't necessarily do gaming stuff all the time, so they would get taken off. There's an actual podcast section, not just gaming talk shows.
Gaming talk shows is the same thing as
but
a podcast.
if you're not a gaming podcast, you can't be on that. So like if Joe Rogan wants to be on Twitch, he can't do it because he'll get kicked off because he's not always talking about gaming.
That doesn't bother me at all.
Okay, I'm just saying I wish that there was. That's all.
His stream is something like Joe Rogan already streams on something else.
Well, he streams on Ustream, but he only gets like 3,000 viewers.
Only.
He gets several million downloads.
Well, I can't remember. I think it was the episode that Nothing was on. That Nothing showed him Twitch.
Right.
And he went on there. He went on there and he was talking. I don't remember who he was talking to. But the guy he was talking to said that Twitch is huge, and he always kept saying, you always have people on here twitching. I'm like, it makes me twitch just you saying that.
I know. No, I love Joe Rogan. It's my favorite podcast, and I just love Joe Rogan. But it doesn't matter. What I was getting at was it would just be cool because it's a huge platform that a lot of people want to be on, and if they don't have anything to do with games, they don't have a choice. Well, now these creative guys, they don't have anything to do with games. All they're doing is they're just drawing or painting or making music or whatever.
Yeah, there's a music section too.
Yeah, and it doesn't have anything to do with games. So if that stuff that doesn't have anything to do with games exists, maybe we can get some more. That's all I'm saying.
Well, honestly, I would not be surprised if they did implement something like that along the line or down the road. Because
they just want more people to use their service, and at the end of the day, that's what it is.
They seem to be heading down that road, at least, as far as starting to implement more stuff, and not just more games, obviously. You know what I mean? They seem to be bringing out more and more of.
Do you feel at any point though that makes it not as pure and it muddies the water a little bit? Kind of makes it a catch-all. At that point, like, how is the name Twitch special anymore when it's just got everything under the sun with it? You know what I mean?
Honestly, I don't really care.
No.
Because if you want to watch somebody, you're going to click on the thing you want to watch, and you're going to click on the personality that you want to watch do it. You're not doing it just because you want to see the gameplay. You know what I mean? Like there's so many League players for you to watch, or there's so many Call of Duty players or Fallout players or whatever.
I do like to see the gameplay, and the personality matters, but I could be watching my favorite personality. So my favorite person to watch stream is the Odd One. He has been forever. Mm-hmm. He's my favorite personality streamer. But if he's playing a champion in League that I just don't want to watch get played, I'll leave his channel and I'll go watch somebody else. Because even though he's my number one personality to watch on Twitch, I don't want to watch that champion be played for 45 minutes. So I go somewhere else.
That makes sense.
Then say I go to watch some Overwatch. Like I tried to watch some Overwatch the other day, and I found this guy, and he was playing, and he was a little bit obnoxious, so that steered me away from that, you know. But then I went to go to this other guy, and he was playing May over and over and over and over. I'm like, I'm fucking sick and tired.
She just released though.
I know that. Okay, that's fine. But how many games of May do I have to watch to where I'm like, I get it. I want to see some other characters be played now.
Well,
So
then
it was like, so I left for that.
You should tell me to start streaming Overwatch.
You need to start streaming Overwatch on the Train Noobs channel.
Then I will start streaming Overwatch. And
I need
then,
to check and see if I got the invite. Would I get an email? Did you get an email?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so I haven't got an email, so I'm sure I haven't. I heard that they released
There was
another
a
huge.
there was a big wave that was released. Yeah.
So apparently this is going to be the game. This is the one, and I'll go into this later. But I'm looking for a new game. I'm looking for like my game. Like,
Overwatch.
I'm looking for one that I can just dive into that I can obsess about.
I'm telling you
And-
right now. It will be Overwatch.
And I'm feeling like it could be Overwatch, except
No.
I'm not getting. This is the only Blizzard game ever that I'm not getting a fucking beta invite to.
Not could be. It will be your next game that you play. Trust me. It is so much fun.
So you know me well. Why would you say this is going to be my next game?
The only downside to it that I see right now, that as it stands, I only know one other person that's in the beta that I can sit on like Skype with and talk and communicate strats with or something like that. We could talk like, hey, go hit left side of the map, or he's over on the right, or up by whatever. And it's really dependent on how your team communication is. Like there's Team Fortress 2, but Team Fortress 2 is a little bit different in the fact that you have to time your like the Uber charge with the heavy, and all your demo man pipe bombs have to be on point, and your teleporter has to be in a certain location. All this stuff is so precise in Team Fortress 2, whereas with Overwatch, I feel like there's more flexibility with you having so many different heroes to choose from,
and switching
and
them
you
in
can
the middle
switch
of the
on
game,
fly. Yeah, so
which seems so dynamic and so much fun to me. I want to play it.
yes. So I have yet to try the new 3 heroes that they released: Mei, Diva, and whatever his name is, the other ninja guy.
Genji.
Yes. I have yet to play all 3 of those yet, but my 2 favorites, like I mentioned in the last episode, is Junkrat and
Junkrat.
Roadhog.
Roadhog.
Yeah. Did I say?
Yeah.
I think
Roadhog?
I think I finished saying Roadhog, but I might have stopped in the middle of saying it because you started talking and I got distracted.
I want, and I'll go into that conversation when we're done with the news, but I really want, I think Overwatch could be it for me. And I don't have much time, as is apparent by this show, because we're doing so much elaborate discussion on the few news topics that we did cover, because I don't have show notes. Because I don't have much time, so I can only dedicate my time to one thing. Really, I can only dedicate to one thing. And I'll go into how Hearthstone has dropped off the table for me, and I can go into that later too.
One of the best things about Overwatch that I see right now is the fact that they're very short games. When you know a game is short when a person that's in Challenger for League of Legends is playing a match of Overwatch while they're sitting in queue.
That's really cool. I appreciate
the
matches.
The matches last no more. I've noticed no more than 15 minutes.
How much of a competitive, like an esports vibe, do you see this being viable under the esports banner? Can there be like team comps and strategies and stuff like that?
Yes, there can.
That's all you need to have esports is if you can be a selected team of 6, I think is max.
6, yeah.
And you can have a comp, and you can have a strategy, and those players all individually know what their rule is to switch out when the other team switches out or whatever to do, then that would be so fucking fun to watch.
I'm finding new counters every time I play the game. Like, I picked Bastion, who's the guy that turns into the turret, and you get the shield. And I was like, all right, I played the same map against a Bastion that sat in the same spot that I'm sitting right now. There's no way they can kill me because I had such a problem killing him before I peeked around that corner. I found that when I played Bastion, a weakness. If somebody else picks Hanzo and they sit up in this certain part of the map, you can spray at them, but you won't hit them with 100% accuracy. But Hanzo has a multi-shot where he shoots his arrow, and if it hits a surface, it scatters.
Right.
So he charges his shot on regular peons just running around the map, and then gets his ultimate built up. And then when his ultimate's built up, he shoots his ultimate at you. That forces you to move, or you just eat the full ultimate, which is like a damage over time spell as it passes over you. And then in the same stroke, pulls out multi-shot, and then he shoots the wall behind you.
Multi-shot.
He shoots the wall behind you, and then the multi-shot scatters this way and hits you in the back as
This is
the
all
dragon's going through you.
applied to our wildest sex fantasies.
Yes.
The whole sentence you just said.
Yes. I love
That's really
multi-shotting
neat, though.
bitches.
Who doesn't?
But learning all these counters and stuff, and if they pick this comp, this is the comp to counter them, is it's like a game of chess. And
It's
learning
really
what
neat.
counters what other thing. And that's the main difference about TF2 and this is that this is faster matches. The matches are over 12, 15 minutes. I haven't seen a match go over 15. I haven't seen a match go over 15 minutes. The only time it's gotten even close to 15 minutes is if you get into overtime and it's just a struggle back and forth until somebody caps the
Now,
point.
I really want to go into this hardcore, this kind of discussion that we're heading down. But how much more news do you have?
I only have one thing.
Okay.
But I did want to announce really quickly that if you have not heard of it yet, this month was the start of Humble Monthly. Now, this isn't in my notes, so I'm just doing some pimping for Humble.
Cool.
So the Humble Bundle, everybody knows about the Humble Bundle. It's a pay-what-you-want bundle. They're introducing like a monthly thing.
For games.
Yes, which is a lot like Loot Crate or something like that, where you'll get
Cool.
a bunch of gear for a subscription. The subscription is a $12 subscription. It pays month to month. And this month's games that came out, I'll read down really quickly. It was Saints Row 4. Let me open that tab. I actually closed it. I don't know why. Saints Row 4, Besiege, Valkyria Chronicles, Lethal League, Sanctuary RPG, Towerfall Ascension, and Legend of Grimrock 2. Now, I did really quickly while we were discussing the Overwatch and the Bob Ross thing. I did research on all these games and how much they cost on Steam currently. So Saints Row is $15. So right there, if you're a fan of Saints Row and you don't have Saints Row 4 yet, this was something that you should have done. It's too late to get those games now, but you can resub or sub now and get access to the next month's games. But Saints Row 4 is $15. Besiege is $8. Valkyria Chronicles is $20. Lethal League's $14. Sanctuary RPG is $8. Towerfall Ascension is $15. Grimrock 2 is $24. That's a total of $104 retail price for all of these games that you got for $12. I did it on
chunks of it go to good causes, which is awesome.
Yeah, a lot of it goes to charity.
Charities. That's the point of Humble Bundle. Part of it goes to the game developers, part of it goes to Humble Bundle itself, and then part of it goes to charities. And you can choose with sliders how much of a percentage you want those things.
Normally, I don't know. I don't remember how the monthly bundle goes or how it works.
The actual bundles. That's neat. What happens if you already have some of those games?
You get a Steam code, so I can give them to you or
give them
to
away,
somebody
basically.
else.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so what ends up happening is they actually rotate charities, I guess. Like this month's charity is Child's Play. So a portion of that this month's this month's fee or this month's subscription goes to Child's Play.
Okay.
Which
is just a set amount.
If nobody knows what Child's Play is a charity that works the channel of goodwill of the worldwide gaming community into video games and game systems for sick children in hospitals. Child's Play works directly with hospitals worldwide to identify what kinds of games and systems can be installed in hospital wards and
How long
distributed.
is this?
Shut up for a second. Let me read this.
I just realized something about myself. Go ahead.
Can be installed in hospital wards and distributed for keeps to child patients. Since 2003, Child's Play has coordinated the donation of millions of dollars of games and game systems, making them a primary charity for helping children in need of the joy that games can bring. A lot of times when I donate to charities through Humble Bundle, Child's Play is where I throw most of my money because I am a big fan of video games and I think video games need to be shared across all generations and especially kids need to play video games.
Right. All right, so this is the deal. When I was a kid, I don't remember how old I was. If I can remember the house I was in, I might be able to tell you if this is what it was. Oh, shit. I would have been anywhere from sophomore to a junior. So this could have been, okay, this started in 2003.
Yeah.
Child's Play.
Yes.
And I would have been 15. So I was old enough. This started when I had my appendix almost burst on me. And it was right around Christmas time. And I remember when it happened, I just went.
Did you forget?
No, I'm just trying to remember because my memories get a little fuzzy. I'm trying to remember if I was younger. Regardless, I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital over Thanksgiving or really close to Christmas, and people came in and they gave me like these stuffed animals and stuff, and because I was in the hospital for a while because of surgery, and they wheeled in this cart with a Nintendo 64 on it, and they set it up at the end of my bed, at the foot of my bed, and I got to play video games all day on it.
That's awesome.
Now I don't know if I don't think it was Child's Play because I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was actually before 2003 that this happened, but I've never forgot about this, and it was one of the most amazing times of my life. So I could definitely say, like, just being able to sit there and play Nintendo 64 because I didn't even have one myself.
You know, I don't mean to reminisce and go on tangents, but I agree with you, and I will share my story really briefly at the end of this next news topic because I want to get this out of the way in case there's any discussion you want to talk about.
Let's get all the fucking news out the way, and then we can talk about whatever we want.
So the CEO of Ninjas in Pajamas was fired over unpaid players. Basically, the CEO, Per Lilifeld of Swedish CSGO team Ninjas in Pajamas, was fired after a report came in that players were not paid thousands of dollars that they were owed through prize money and in-game sticker sales. If you don't know about this, if you are in CSGO, you could actually buy stickers on the store, and a portion of those proceeds of the sticker sales go to the team that the sticker belongs to.
And to quickly recap, because probably all our listeners are not huge Counter-Strike fans, Ninjas in Pajamas is like the #1 Counter-Strike professional team. They've been around since the old days of Counter-Strike 1.6, 1.3 even, I believe, like forever. And it's got a lot of the same roster has been on there forever. They're a hardcore Swedish team that wins like everything. So it's really shocking to me to hear that Ninjas in Pajamas, of all teams in this world, not getting paid.
Now that's the team that has Get Right on it, right?
Yeah.
I think he's like one of the most.
Let me check the roster for you.
I think he's one of the most top paid players, or was. Until this guy screwed him over.
Right,
but
he didn't get paid. Yeah,
initially Ninjas in Pajamas, from here on called NIP, if I ever say the name again. Initially NIP denied the claims, but later admitted that the CEO's booting was kind of cited as partly because of the unpaid wages, but also for other different reasons. It doesn't specify what different reasons they were, but a statement was then released saying that there are things that we could have done or handled better, but then he goes on. The statement goes on to say, and this is a quote: "As CEO of a company, Per is I don't know if it's Per or Pear or P."
All right, I got the roster really quick. Freeberg or Freiberg, Get Right, a little player named Forrest, Exist, and Alu. Like all of them,
they're all huge names.
Yeah, massive. So sorry, go ahead.
So the quote is, as CEO of a company, Per, I'm going to say Per because it sounds cooler and more like French, even though it's a Swedish team.
Because you're the expert on what sounds like French.
I don't know how, if somebody's from Sweden's listening to this shit and you know how to say PER, if you know how to say that in Swedish, then please let me know because I fucked it up. I know I did.
It's probably like horse testicles or something random.
The CEO is the individual ultimately responsible for the business, and since he is a pragmatic person, he accepted the responsibility for the mistakes that have been made. It is time to bring in new people with more suitable properties, skills, and experience to lead Ninjas in Pajamas in the future. The business and industry has changed. It is time to take it to the next level.
So they're saying it's not necessarily him, but he had to take the fall for it. Because at the end of the day, his managers and all that are managed by him, and he should have done a better job.
But he is the CEO, so which is
well,
strange.
I guess somebody has to take the fall when you're making your NIP, you're making all of your money off of these 5 kids, basically.
Yeah, well, In
You got to
the
take care of them.
in the interim, a guy named Patrick Johnson, formerly the CEO of. Come on, why do you have to have stupid names? Extrafy? I'm saying it's fucking Extrafy Gaming. I don't fucking know. It's spelled XTRFY. Extrafy. He's currently taking over of CEO.
They need to hire us for their game
For right
names,
now.
huh?
Like, what the fuck? Extrafy. Come on, guys. Use a better
That's
name.
crazy. I do want to mention now that you've gotten through your topics. BlizzCon happened. There was a lot of news with BlizzCon, but at the end of the day, no new IPs were announced. Overwatch got announced that it's going to cost $60. It's not going to be free to play like everybody anticipated.
Already pre-ordered.
Yeah, new heroes are coming out for all the games, basically. Diablo 3 is having a big new patch that I'm super excited for. Can't wait to dive into that. The trailer for World of Warcraft movie got released. You can go
By the
search
way, fucking horse thrower. They need to have a class in World of Warcraft called the Horse Thrower. I would play WoW again if I could throw horses.
that. Absolutely. World of Warcraft Legion, that was playable there. You could play the Demon Hunter. They showed the cinematic trailer for that. That was really awesome. Go Tyrion. Tyrion Lannister. No, that's not the right one. I'm drawing a complete blank.
Tyrion Ren.
Tyrion. Well, I knew it was. Is it Tyrion Ren?
Yes, Wyrnn.
Tyrion. It is Tyrion. But for some reason in my head, I knew it. Okay, it was Tyrion. For some reason, I was like, Tyrion. Wait, no, maybe it's not Tyrion. Anyway, go him. What else? So there was the Overwatch. Diablo was really limited. They just went over the patch. StarCraft, the Legacy of the Void just came out yesterday. So that's what's going on with that. Not too much.
Yeah, I found when I found out that was actually released. I own every collector's edition for every other StarCraft. So
You have to get this one.
I don't want to get this one.
Yeah.
But the collector in me says I have to get this one.
In Hearthstone, an adventure got announced, League of Explorers, and they surprised us all by saying it's going to be released this Thursday, which is tomorrow. It's going to be released. I just downloaded the big old pack on my phone. I woke up to it downloading. But it's going to have 45
Is that
new
what
cards.
that was?
Yeah.
Because my phone got the update this morning too.
That's what it was. It was preloading the new thing for tomorrow. It's a huge adventure. It's got 45 cards instead of the traditional. I think 30 is about average. 45 new cards. A new playing system called Discover, where you get to discover or pick from 3 randomly generated cards of whatever it says. So you get to discover a spell or discover a 3-cost minion or discover a special whatever. So that's interesting. And I think that's all their IPs. Did I miss any IPs for Blizzard?
Nope. You got WoW, you got Diablo, you got Hearthstone. We covered our Overwatch already.
Yeah. And that's pretty much why we didn't really have
Heroes
any
of the
news
Storm.
topics,
There
'cause
was
it's easy as that.
Tracer was announced as a Heroes of the Storm playable character.
Yeah.
Who you get
Characters announced for pretty much all the games.
you get for free if you pre-order the Origin edition of Overwatch.
There is that thing that they're doing with which game is it where you get the sack of gold? It's for heroes. You get Cho'Gall got announced. It's a character where 2 players play the one character.
It's like Chris explained it last week. It's like an Archon mode from StarCraft 2.
Oh yeah, there you go. And you guys did talk about it last week for sure. Yeah,
2 people play one hero.
And there's the sharing program or whatever where if you play a certain amount of games with these other people, they get that character, and then if you play, yada yada yada, you go through the steps, and then you get a big sack of gold at the end. So I love that as far as how to get Cho'Gall. That's an amazing, ingenious way because it gets them to it gets people to stretch out and play with other people and stuff. So it's genius. I love it.
Okay,
that's about it for BlizzCon news for our highlights for us.
Like I said, I'd explain this story that I had about the hospital. Real quickly, when I was a wee lad, I ended up burning myself. I dumped
in the hometown of Ireland when I was a wee lad.
No, I wasn't. I was not in Ireland.
Okay, sorry.
I ended up pulling down a pot of boiling water on myself. I was making macaroni and cheese with my dad, and it was quite hot. My dad liked to joke that after it happened, it was just
where did it hit you?
It was just me and him home. My mom was out doing something, but He liked to joke that I was wearing a sweater at the time, which I was. I remember that. He took me.
How
into
old
the,
are you?
He took me in the bathroom. I was probably about 5 or 7,
Okay,
something
really
around that
little.
age. Yeah. So I was climbing up on a chair, and I reached up to get up to the stove so I could stir the noodles, or start pouring the noodles in and then stir them.
Oh, okay.
So I
Can I
reached
cut you
up.
off really quick? As a parent,
Yes, go on.
if my child were to get really injured like that because they were trying to be the sweetest little kid in the world and just help you make dinner by stirring the thing, I would have just lost it. That sounds
Oh,
heartbreaking to me.
he felt terrible.
I can't imagine.
But
Oh my god.
I was
So go ahead.
climbing up on this chair, and I reached up and grabbed the pot because that was the handle that was sticking out. You know, my dad didn't actually turn it, because if he turned it, or I turned it, whoever was last, I think I was the one that was last up on the chair. I wouldn't have grabbed the handle. I would have probably grabbed the edge of the stove and maybe only burnt my fingers or something. You know, that's the brightest side of the story that could have happened. But anyhow, I reached up and grabbed the end of the pot, and the whole pot of water just spilled on me, on my head and arms and everywhere, on my back and everything. So my dad heard me scream all of a sudden, turns around, sees me. Now, a lot of this I'm just explaining what I barely remember and what my dad keeps telling me the story is, because I forgot some of this already. This happened.
Right.
This happened 25
You were
years
so
ago,
young.
at least.
Right.
So he picked me up really fast, took me and ran me to the bathroom, stuck me in the bathtub, and started running cold water on me. Realized that my shirt's soaked with boiling water. He better
Yeah.
take it off. So now I think he's joking, but I don't know, because I know it's possible. But he said he ripped it off, and when he pulled it off really fast, he pulled it off so fast that a piece of my skin hit the ceiling and stuck there. I think he's joking, though. It's just the way my dad works.
Right.
But
he won't tell you if he's joking.
But he won't tell me, yeah.
Oh, this guy.
So it's like the
horrible.
ultimate troll. Yeah, like, I don't know if he's serious or not. But anyway, so you get I get into the hospital after all this stuff.
Chances are too, he was so adrenaline and so, because if that's happening to your kid, that's the worst moment of your life.
Yeah.
And he could think he saw that. He could legitimately think he saw that. You know?
So and I remember wearing. I had two layers on. I had my sweater, and then I had like an undershirt on, because when the EMS got there and they put me on, they laid me down on the bed, they had to cut my shirt off. I remember them cutting my shirt off to see what happened, where I was burned, etc. Anyway, after I got into the hospital, they had to do some skin grafts, which is why if you actually look on the video, you'll see that I have over here, I have this discoloration right here. It's because this is part of the burn, and then I have this whole thing on my arm. It's really hard to make out with the camera because my stupid color correction and the light. But
I
have this giant chunk of skin right here, and then there was a small spot on the back of my neck. It's mostly gone now, but those are the two major spots that are left: my forehead and my arm. But when I was in the hospital, I had to do skin grafts on me and stuff. And my dad, again, always joked that they took the skin grafts from my butt. So one of my butt cheeks is smaller than my other butt cheek. Again, I don't know how true that is.
Your dad.
But anyhow, when I was in the hospital, this is what I was getting to. The highlight of my moment of being there, just like yours, was when I was in the hospital. The Super Nintendo was the big thing. I didn't own one, but I love video games. Mm-hmm. So what I would do is I'd be wearing my hospital robe, and I'd shuffle out there, because they give you those hospital socks.
Right.
So I'd shuffle
That
out there.
generate a million % amount of static.
Yeah, I'd shuffle out there to the front desk, and I'd go, "Can I get Super Mario, please?" And they'd give me the Super Mario with Yoshi and all that stuff on it for Super Nintendo, and I'd get the cartridge, because they kept all the games behind the nurse desk.
Uh-huh.
And it was a children's hospital, so they had this all set up with a TV and everything. So I'd shuffle over to the TV, pop the cartridge in, I'd sit down and I'd play for 15 minutes to however long I'd stay there for. And that was my highlight. And then there was other times where they'd take me upstairs or to a different wing of the hospital to play with other children that were in accidents like burns and stuff, because I was in the burn unit. There was a kid there that actually had his whole face was burnt for a house fire or something. I actually shared the room with this kid. But my highlight of that whole time staying in the hospital, you'd think that I would be friends with some of these guys right now. I don't remember any of them. I don't remember their names. I remember the one kid's name was Aaron, but besides that, I don't remember.
Right.
The highlight of my time staying in the hospital was getting that cartridge of Super Mario Brothers and going and playing it. That was my highlight.
And I hear you. And for me, I had surgery, so I couldn't get up out of bed.
Yeah, so they wheeled it into you.
And so they wheeled it into me, and it was amazing. Like I've never felt like everybody around me cared more than when I was a kid and I had surgery and it was around Christmas time, an amazing thing. But I have a burn story too. I don't know did I ever tell you about how I burnt myself?
No, you did not.
When I was a kid, I would say I was in middle school, and we had tacos one night, and my dad was reheating the oil to make more taco shells because we fry the corn tortillas in the oil. But we're a family of 9 people. And so the pan for the oil was big because you'd do multiple at a time. Otherwise, you would never eat. And so he was reheating it, and it was heated all the way. And same thing, my dad did the same thing as your dad did. He left the handle out, except for this was a skillet, so it was a long handle sticking out from the oven. And for some reason, me and my little brother decided that the one that was sitting behind me in that one episode decided that it would be great to sword fight with brooms in the kitchen. And I backed up, and the broom hit the handle and knocked the fully heated skillet of oil all down my leg, down my left leg. And it just burned, and it was oil, so it kept burning and burning and burning. And my dad came and picked me up, put me in the sink, and the water wasn't doing anything, and it kept burning me, and he put me in the tub, and it wasn't doing anything. And my skin started peeling off my leg, and I had to go to the hospital, and I went into shock. That was the first time and only time I ever got morphine put into me, which was fucking weird. If you've ever had morphine, holy shit. And I went into shock and stuff, and I was in the hospital for like a day, and then they sent me home, and for like 2 or 3 weeks, every single day, like twice a day, I would have to take my bandages off my leg, peel the layers of skin off my leg, set them aside.
I remember that.
Rebandage it, and I just laid in bed for the most part. And that was another one of those times where it was PlayStation era, and my dad got me this game that was, I don't remember what it was called, but it was a really dark game where you're like walking around the grounds of a castle, and there's like some mazy stuff around the castle, and you just pick up things and you kill skeletons and stuff like that. I think it was called Medieval.
Yeah.
I think it was called Medieval.
I was actually just about to say that too.
Yeah, and I loved
you play a really goofy skeleton.
Yeah, and I loved that game.
It was actually a really good game.
I just laid on my parents' bed. And played video games for like 2 weeks. It was amazing. And then but that's my burn story.
Oil is so much worse than water, though.
I hear water's bad though because water like burns you faster or something like that. Maybe it's like I don't remember what it was. But you got a pot all over your body. That's crazy. I didn't have skin grafts or nothing. Like my leg just healed on its own.
Yeah.
But I do remember the sensation of the oil just kept burning. Like while I was driving, because my parents didn't call the ambulance. They drove me to the hospital, and I had a cold rag on my leg, and I just remember I felt like my leg was like
on fire,
just burning, burning, and I was like, oh, it's horrible.
That's the thing about oil.
I didn't have hair on my leg. I didn't have hair on my leg for years. I had no hair on one leg.
On that one leg,
yeah. But it's all normal now. I used to have a red scar. Every time I would take a shower, my whole leg would turn beet red from that, and it took like 10 years for that to stop happening.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, if you guys liked all of our story time,
but I want to touch about something.
Oh my god, we're at an hour and 8 minutes.
I don't give a shit.
Wow. All right, you heard it here first. Mike does not bring show notes and doesn't give a shit about the podcast.
You're twisting my words pretty severely right now.
You just said I don't give a shit.
So I just wanted to mention this because we talked about it earlier. I'm looking for my new game. I'm looking for something that I can invest my time into, but I can only afford to do one game. And Hearthstone has been killing me lately. The amount of RNG that's happening in Hearthstone, I just can't handle it anymore. It makes me mad. And I'm not having fun playing the game.
Do you think that the level of RNG that's available in the game hurts the competitiveness of the game?
Absolutely. And I don't need to think that. It's proof, because if you look at the finalists that happened for the World Tournament this time, they're all different. The winner's different, and all the top players that everybody expected to get through didn't even make it through. The one that everybody expected to win didn't win. I mean, this does not happen if it's StarCraft. If it's skill-based, if there's no RNG in the mix, it doesn't happen. You've got the guys that are putting in the time and getting really good, and those are the guys that you expect to be there. But the thing is with Hearthstone, it is so dependent on how you draw, what you're top decking, what your other opponent chooses to play. All of these factors are so RNG dependent. And the argument here, and because I used to tote this argument, is, well, you can control the RNG. That's how you become a good player. But at the end of the day, you can control the RNG perfectly. You can be in the finals for $250,000, and it's you're top decking. You and your opponent are top decking. And at the end of the day, when he top decks a fireball and you top deck a one drop, you lose because of RNG. And it's gotten to the point where it frustrates me to a sickening level when I play this game that I've stopped playing recently.
Okay, so I agree with you on the randomness, but I agree with you on a different aspect of the randomness, not the top decking. I think it's not competitive because of the randomness in the cards, like something like Matter Bomber.
Yep.
Obviously, you wouldn't play something like that in competitiveness or in competitive scene, but something like that can ruin a perfectly fine game if he hits his RNG perfect.
Or like Piloted Shredder. Like there's been games that have been won because he pops the Piloted Shredder and a Doomsayer comes out of it and wipes the whole board. And do you deserve, like, if you played your game worse than the other person, if you made misplays and all that, and at the end of the game you have no other play other than to pop the Piloted Shredder and a 1 in, I think it's like a 1 in, it's a like 82 chance or something like that. I don't even know what it is, 62, that a Doomsayer comes out and wipes the board and you win because of that. Do you deserve that win? If this is Counter-Strike or if this is StarCraft or if this is something that is skill-based,
I would say that you don't deserve the win because I've been in situations like that before that I've won a game that I don't think I should have won.
Exactly.
I've come back from I can't remember who the other guy, what he was playing, but he had 30 life and I was a mage and I had 2. And I literally had enough in my hand and on the board to stop him from killing me and kill him instead.
Right.
Because of what I drew. But, again, this is going back about me saying that I don't agree with the top decking part. Because collectible card games always have RNG based in them. Right. Look at Magic the Gathering. There's a spell that you could pull that's called a Miracle. And basically, if you pull it, it's the card is called Bonfire of the Damned. And I can't remember the exact wording. I can't remember the exact wording of it, but a guy won a tournament because he drew this. So basically, Bonfire of the Damned normally costs 1 red and then 2x. 2x is you have to pay whatever the amount of damage you want to deal twice. So if you want to deal 6 damage, you have to pay 1 red plus 12 extra mana.
Wow.
To deal 6 damage. But the card reads, Bonfire of the Damned deals X damage to target player and each creature he or she controls. It has an effect on it that it's a miracle. You could play it for a reduced cost if you top deck it, essentially. So if you're playing and you pull this card, the miracle cost is 1 red, 1x. So if you want to deal 12 damage,
so if you have no cards
land
in your hand and you top deck it, or if you just draw it.
If you just draw it.
Oh, so if it's not in your starting hand, basically it's always reduced cost on that turn.
Yeah, basically if you get this card in your starting hand, you want a mulligan.
Right. Okay. So sorry, go ahead. So it goes down to 1 and 1 for cost.
Yes. So instead of it costing, let's say I want to deal 12, if I want to deal 6 damage to you, instead of me paying 12 extra mana on top of the red, I would only pay 6 extra mana on top of the red. So it cuts that cost in half to deal X damage. So if I deal 6 damage to you and to the creatures. Now, another thing you have to understand about Magic is that a lot of the different creatures don't normally get buffed up to the point where you see like Hearthstone creatures get buffed up to.
Right.
And plus in Magic you have 20 life. You don't have 30.
Right.
It's a longer game and it's more strategic, but there's also RNG in it, like the Miracle.
Right.
So
Yeah, and so I'm just kind of learning about myself that something that is not controllable frustrates me.
yeah.
With so CCGs, as much as I love them, like on a very deep level, I love them for the fun aspect, but I'm learning more and more that they just drive me nuts. And I've been learning this about me through all the years of gaming, that there's been times where I just go to Diablo because Diablo is not. Sometimes I just need something that's not competitive.
Well,
Sometimes I don't need shit talkers. Sometimes I don't need all that shit.
you have to play Hearthstone, I feel like
Like a fun game.
exactly like a
Not take it
relaxed,
seriously.
chill out game, and not take it
Yes.
seriously. Don't compete in the ladder. Don't do that shit. If you
And
want
that's
to play
hard
in the
for me to
ladder,
do because that's how I play games.
yeah. If you
I
want to
take
play in
them
the ladder,
seriously.
if you want to play in the ladder, get to rank 20. Make that your goal. You get to rank
Right.
20, cut it out. Stop it. Just go play.
And then play arena or something.
Yeah, go
'Cause
play.
arena,
Go play arena. Go play tavern brawls because those are always changed up, as long as they're available.
So with that in mind, what I'm thinking is I don't want to play a game that frustrates me. Period. That's just not how I feel. And so a lot of the whole looking for my game.
I don't know if Overwatch will be your game then, because there are frustrating moments in it, like
Just like Counter-Strike would have frustrating moments, right?
Yeah,
because
like,
it's a shooter.
like times where you think that you put out enough damage to kill them,
Right.
but you didn't.
Right.
They have like
But
10 HP left.
In a lot of respects, that is so much more skill based than anything else, And Counter Strike will frustrate me too. And so, what I was wondering though is, I really think I want to try things like Vermintide. I want to try that. It's only $30. I might really be into that. I've been thinking a lot about Guild Wars 2. Playing a lot of that. The new
You already
Diablo's
own that.
expansion's coming out, huh?
You already own Guild Wars 2, so you don't
Right.
need to pay anything extra.
Right, but then there's the expansion. So if I just want to be serious about it,
Yeah.
then I'll go through all that.
But you could try it and see if you can get into it.
And so
before
I'm
you
at
buy the
this
expansion.
crossroads really, where I'm like checking out my Steam library. I re-downloaded Torchlight, both of them. Tried playing those a little bit, which those are amazing games, and I wish they would make a third one. I would so wish, but instead they're making Hob because they don't want to compete with Diablo 3. They say, which bums me out because I really love the Torchlight series. Like they do things right that Diablo doesn't do. And
Did you try out that Van Helsing game that came out? That's a lot like Diablo.
I remember you linked me about that. I'm gonna write it down here in my notes.
Well, we probably should start wrapping up because we're at
Yeah,
a,
we'll wrap. That's really the end of my sentiment. It was just I'm looking for that game, and I'm excited. Maybe Heroes of the Storm.
Heroes
I
of
don't
the
know.
Storm. I feel
I'm
like
just looking for that game.
Heroes of the Storm. I feel is like really competitive though. Like if it's good, you're gonna get
And
that
I'm okay-
league feeling.
I'm okay with getting into a competitive game. I'm not trying to avoid a competitive game. The problem I have with games like Heroes of the Storm is you're reliant upon other people, and that's what is frustrating.
If
for
you
me.
want to get involved in a game and not be reliant upon other people and don't want to have to deal with people like shit talking you, then you might not want to get into Overwatch because I have a feeling
I
it's
can handle
not right
the
now.
shit-talking. I just want to.
It's not right now. There's no shit talking as far as I could tell right now. At least I haven't experienced any. My buddy says he has.
Not enough people in there.
But only one time. That's the thing right now. You'll come across a lot of the same people because it's a kind of a limited beta currently. So
Well,
but-
I'm keeping my eye out for it. I'm looking forward, and I also thought about just being a story player. Like when Firewatch comes out, I'm gonna play through that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought about just doing that. Playing through games the traditional way.
not a bad idea.
Oh, so I mean these are my been my thought processes lately.
You would love Fallout 4.
Yeah, probably.
Wrap
Kind of
it up.
open-ended, which I
Wrap
like,
it up
man.
the same way that we opened it up. Fallout
Wrap it up
4.
with a stroke. Fallout 4.
Well, I didn't say that, but I mean, I guess if you want to, go for it. You were expecting me to end it right there, weren't you? Like you were waiting for your cue. If you liked what you heard, guys, please send us an email. We'd like to read your feedback. Obviously, we did it this episode because I told Jim to, and we had your buddy
And
give
that
you a
is
little text review.
trainnoobs@gmail.com.
And then you can catch us both on Twitter. Just go to Train Noobs Twitter. You'll find both of our Twitters on there.
What we'll do is in the Train Noobs Twitter, I'll put our handles in the description of the channel.
Okay.
And that way all we have to do is pimp Train Noobs.
Yep. So go to trainnoobs.com for everything else. All the links are at the bottom to everything else that we do. We probably should update our Reddit more. We actually don't right now. Kind of need to get on that, but there's really nobody that goes to it anyway. So as of right now, there's no reason to bother with it.
I can tell it bothers you because you mentioned it a lot, but
The
I
Reddit.
don't know. Yeah, that it doesn't get
No,
updated.
what bothers me more than that is actually the Steam group that we have. I would love to organize community events on the Steam group and say,
would
hey
be
guys, come play video games with us, and broadcast a message to everybody to come play. And like Chris and I would play something while you're out driving, or we get you involved while you're here, or something
Right.
like that. And then we can go play like Vermintide or Left 4 Dead or something like that with a bunch of people, and have just a fun time and have some beer and get drunk and say things we regret later.
That would be a lot of fun.
But if you enjoyed, please let us know. Like Mike said, trainnoobs@gmail.com. And if you do want to go to our individual Twitter accounts, they are at the bottom of the YouTube
Video.
stream. So I did update Mike's, so it is updated, but it just has a kind of like a funky text on it, at least until we can get a bit better Photoshopper on
Now
here.
I'm at MCMONE, and you are at ITZNERVEZ.
That's correct.
It's nerves with Z's because he's edgy.
I'm never going to fucking live that down.
That's it. Also, if you want the pre-show, go spend a
Yeah.
quarter at patreon.com/trainnoobs.
Which
I
we-
won't pimp that too much. So.
We did confirm during the pre-show that you can pay just a quarter, because I was like, I don't know if you could just pay a quarter to pay for a show or pay for Patreon.
Yeah,
But you can. You
you can.
could put just a quarter in. You could put
Just
a penny
a quarter.
in probably,
Probably.
but you won't get anything for it.
Nope.
I mean,
We'll say thank you.
we'll give you a stroke,
A stroke.
just one stroke.
Little stroke.
We give you a stroke per penny.
A penny's worth of a stroke.
All right, guys. Thanks for checking this out. Please go enjoy Fallout 4 responsibly.
Or irresponsibly. as long as you're not
Remember,
driving.
you have school and work to go to, and that should take precedence over a video game.
Sort of. Unless you're calling in sick. Then
Well.
you're good. Then you're in the clear.
Yeah. Don't call off too many times though, because then you will get fired. But
Then you have all the time in the world to play Fallout 4.
I don't know why we're just dragging this on.
Later, noobs.